Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of We Talk Tech Seniors. Today, we're going to be talking about some different ways you can use your smart home devices to communicate with others, both within your home and out in the world at large. I'm joined by two guests today. The first is Frank Engelman, who is a regular contributor to the website Tech Enhanced Life, whose mission is to improve the lives of older adults and their families through educational resources and research. Our second guest is a regular on the show, Ean Price, Technology for Living's innovation strategist. Thank you for joining me both. Before we get started, I'd like to give a short warning that we're going to be using the trigger words for your smart speaker devices. And by that, I mean the words Alexa, Google, and Siri. So we're going to try our best to either censor or find alternate ways to say these words. So I'm going to be calling Alexa Miss A throughout the video to the best of my ability. Alexa, stop. So the first feature we're going to be talking about is part of the Miss A ecosystem, and it is called drop-in. And this is why we brought Frank onto the show. He's a real expert on figuring out innovative ways to use the Miss A drop-in system. So could you tell us a little bit more about what drop-in is and how you think it's best utilized, Frank?
Sure. On a typical call using Miss A calling, the person on the other end would be presented with some on-screen buttons to tap, or they could say answer the call. If that is hard for them to do, you can use a feature called drop-in, which will automatically accept the call after about 5 seconds, and it starts out with a blurred screen, so it gives the person a time to reject the call if they need to. And it's a real nice feature. It's limited to one-on-one calls. That means one person to one person. With the standard Miss A calling, which you can have group calls, but you can't with drop-in. Now, if the device you're calling happens to be on the same account, you can pick that device by name. Ought to say there's bedroom, living room. So if your mom, let's say, has these devices, you can pick which one you want to drop in on. However, if she is on a separate account, you don't get to pick which one to drop in on. So that's a bit of a problem. So you should either maybe turn off ones you don't want to drop in on her on, say for example, as a way around it, or to put her on your account, which again has other problems because she could speak things and could affect your system too. The other thing about any kind of Miss A calling, you have to have a mobile number to accept the text to set it up. And you can use some voice over IP systems. One I think it works well in Canada, I've heard, is textnow.com, because I understand that Google Voice doesn't work there.
Right, so it's a great system for communicating even within your home. I use drop-in within my home to get the attention of care aides, so I can say Miss A, drop in on the kitchen if I'm say in my bedroom, and then I
Mm-hmm.
can have a like a direct intercom conversation with the kitchen. So this is really great. So I've got Echo devices all over my home, so no matter where people are, I can still speak with them. And Frank, your suggestions are um, doing remote drop-ins onto
Right,
people.
right.
So if you and your Asian parents don't live in the same house, maybe you live in the same city or same province, or different countries, you can still do that drop-in with them. So it's really
Yes.
helpful to be able to initiate a call and then have it automatically accept. Um, that way, your mom or your grandparents, they don't need to be fumbling with phones or pressing buttons or anything. It's just going to go straight through, and then you can chat with them. So it's a great way to um, stay connected in a less stressful way. Nothing to worry about.
Right, and what I like about it too is they don't have to hold a phone or a tablet. You've got a always powered on device sitting next to them, or even their Fire TV with the Fire TV Cube or the new Amazon Omni TVs, which support this.
And you can make video calls as well,
Yes,
if with a supported device. So you can make audio calls with the regular Echo and Echo Dot devices, but if you have an Echo Show or a Fire TV Cube with an attached webcam, or as Frank said, the new Amazon Omni TV also supports video calls. Is that with an external webcam as well,
yes,
Frank?
yes.
Okay, okay. Ian, do you have any thoughts on the Echo, the Miss A drop-in system? Anything you'd like to say about it?
I like it. I think that it has a lot of functionality, and I'll be honest, in the beginning, I thought it was a little bit creepy that somebody outside of my home could well drop in to a conversation I was having. But I know that that's something that can be disabled if I don't choose to have that feature. But overall, I think for the intercom where you're able to communicate back and forth with somebody without having to touch a screen or a physical device is absolutely huge for people with limited mobility.
Right, and I think we should emphasize that the drop-in system is an opt-in system. You have to turn on and allow specific contacts or people
That's
to
right.
drop in on you. So you don't need to worry about strangers dropping in on your Echo device right now, unless you've allowed them to do so.
That's right.
So if you wanted to do this with your grandma or your mother, you would have to set it up to allow yourself to drop in on them. So strangers couldn't drop in on them either. So there is safety features, and it's an opt-in system, but it's fairly easy to set up. So it's great to look into, but as Frank mentioned, there's a few disadvantages to it, like not being able to specify which device you're dropping in on. But in my opinion, if you weigh the pros and cons, it's a really good system, especially as Ian mentioned, if you are someone with limited mobility or someone who's perhaps not as tech savvy. So the next feature we're going to talk about is something I think everybody on the planet is now familiar with: Zoom. Frank has discovered an ingenious way to do Zoom calls using Echo Show devices. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've discovered, Frank?
Okay, well, Echo shows certain models, 8 Gen 1 and 2, 10 Gen 3, and hopefully at some point Echo Show 15, which is promised, and Fire TV Cube and Omni TV will support Zoom calling. Now, the way it works, though, is it has to show up in your calendar. So once it's in your calendar, the meeting invite that your host has put in there for the meeting, and the time has occurred, it's the start of the meeting time, then you can say, join the meeting. So this is nice for if your relatives don't want to do Miss A calling, let's say, and they want to do Zoom, but you can still be part of those meetings, and they're, of course, group calls, which is really nice. But it might be hard for some people to say, join the meeting, and then okay. So you could use a button with Miss A routines, if you could slap a button, or you had another way to start the routine. But I found out that you could use IFTTT to read the Google Calendar, and then you could trigger the Miss A routine to actually say join the meeting, and then okay. So it's almost like drop-in, but it's a scheduled drop-in.
That's a great way to get over one of the disadvantages of regular Miss A drop-in and do group calls, is to use Zoom. Lots of people, that's their preferred communication platform. And as Frank said, this is a great way so that somebody's not feeling left out. So to set this up, you need to link a calendar to your Alexa. Alexa, stop. Right. So thanks for telling us about Zoom, Frank. There's a great article by Frank on Tech Enhanced Life, which we're going to put in the description that you can read, and that's going to walk you through in a very plain and understandable language how you can set this up so that you can use Zoom on your Echo devices, and it's really cool. It's a great way to enable group calls, which is something you can't do with a regular Miss A drop-in. So if group calls are what you're looking to do, with a big family meeting, this is a great way to ensure the people using Echo devices are also included.
And Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can have a reoccurring link in your calendar, so it could be
Yes.
every night at 6 p.m. to just pop in and say hi and make sure everything's okay. Make sure that they've taken their medication and that their caregiver has arrived. Things like that are fantastic.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I do a schedule one with my brother and sister every Sunday. So that works. I can sit here and it pops up. Of course,
Right.
you're
You don't
sitting
need to do
kind of
anything.
far away when it's on a TV, but with the Echo Show, it's nice and close. But
Sounds like you just need a bigger TV, Frank.
Or bring it right up to the couch.
well, I can see good. It's just that they see me kind of far away.
Oh, I
You know
see
what I
what you
mean?
mean.
I need one
Okay.
with a telephoto lens, I think.
Right. Okay. I'll get you a different lens then.
Yes.
Right. The next communication system we're going to be talking about is using your Google smart home speakers. Ian uses the Google system a whole lot, so can you tell us about how you use the Google system to communicate?
Sure. I know we've touched upon this in other videos, but the broadcast feature works quite well. It's not two-way communication, but I can say, Google broadcast a message to the living room, and then it will ask me what I would like to say, and I can record a message, and then it will play my voice recording in the other room. And this is something that I actually use a lot in the summer, because if I'm outside and I'm trying to connect with somebody to let me back into my house, then I'll use broadcast on my phone and say, please let me in. And then the last thing is being able to make phone calls through it. Now, you're unable to answer regular phone calls through your Google devices, your Nest Minis and such. But I'm able to say, call mom or call 555-1212, and then it will connect. And it will actually pop up with my phone number so that my mom knows that it's me calling, even though I'm not actually using my cell phone, which is pretty cool.
555 is the prefix for phone numbers on TV and movies. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
I'm so unprofessional. I'm going to get fired one of these days. Just immediately
I
distracted.
know, right? What's that number from that song back in the day? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Beechwood 45789.
Wait, I should have said that.
Boy, you dating myself, huh?
the last communication platform we're going to talk about is for all of us who use Apple devices. There's a couple different systems, including FaceTime and intercoms, and Ian is going to tell us about both of them.
So intercom is very similar to Google's broadcast, but I think that it's a little different, meaning that you can give a response, say, hey, S, reply, and so that works quite well in the home. And then FaceTime, which I'm relatively new to because I just purchased my first iPhone a couple weeks ago, but so far so good. I do like the video calling. I like that you can send somebody that's a non-Apple user a link now to be able to connect. I think that's a relatively new thing. But Frank, Something that we were talking about off camera, which I think is important, is for that video call that you actually have to have the phone or the tablet in front of you, which is a little bit different than your setup.
I like
It
the
does make it
always on device next to mom, so she can just use it without having to find it or unlock it or be sure it's charged and all that.
right. So I think the Apple system is good if mom or dad is already having an iPhone or an iPad and they're quite familiar with it. If they're comfortable with that, FaceTime and the intercom system could be a great solution for staying in touch because it's really a seamless experience within the Apple ecosystem. So there's pros and cons to it, like most of these systems, and you just got to weigh if this is going to be something that mom or dad's going to want to use. So I hope you've all learned something in this episode of We Talk Tech Seniors. Thank you very much to Frank and Ian for joining me and sharing your expertise on these communication systems. Please remember to check the description for links to some articles that Frank has written on how to set up these systems and ensure they're working smoothly for your aging loved ones. And we'll see you for the next episode of We Talk Tech Seniors.